Hi, Minnesota. This is Christy Thompson with Christy Legal, divorce and child custody paralegal and mediator. Today I am with Kyle Rudesill. He is a mortgage loan officer with PrimeSource Funding in Rochester, and he is someone who you're definitely going to want to know when you're divorcing, or honestly at any time. And so, Kyle, please tell us a little bit about yourself, and then, tell us, what are some of the cool things that you do for your clients when they're looking to either refinance a mortgage or obtain a mortgage? Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Christy. As you mentioned, I'm with PrimeSource Funding. I've been with them since about 2019. So PrimeSource Funding is the largest mortgage broker in southern Minnesota. We have a location in Mankato, location in Rochester, Minnesota. So we kind of cover that whole southern region. But we are licensed in the state of Minnesota, so we can, do home loans anywhere in the state. And so, my background is a little bit, it's all finance related. Went to school in Mankato, Minnesota State University, Mankato, got a finance degree and started in the world of financial analyst in Rochester at IBM. So that's kind of how we got to Rochester and where I'm living now. And then transitioned away from kind of an analyst side to more of like, financing side, right? And so did some auto financing, considered real estate, but didn't know how to get into it other than, my financing background. So mortgages made sense. And so that was an easy transition from autos to home loans. And again, we're a mortgage broker, so a little different than a bank. We have lots of different options and products that we offer. And so, just a quick rundown. As a mortgage broker, we do work with, I would say anywhere from 5 to 10 of the largest mortgage companies in the country. Now, these mortgage companies, some of them offer their own financing through their own, loan officers that work with them, and then additionally mortgage brokers. Other ones just, work with mortgage brokers. And so they do not have access to local clients all across the country without working with local mortgage brokers. And so, that's a big benefit to us because when we get clients who are looking for the best deal, the best rate, and they start looking around, we're going to be that option that can say, hey, we get wholesale interest rates from these lenders who are trying to get your business because they have no access to you, and your home loan otherwise. And they really will work hard for it, right? They're always competing against each other. And then I get to go, here's your loan application. Let's go shop it around, essentially, right? And so, again, that's how we get really good interest rates. That's how we get really low closing costs. But again, since we're not a bank, we don't have bank clients. We're all word of mouth, really. So our big thing is communication, availability, and really giving a white glove service. Because at the end of the day, we have to earn that business up front and show that we're going to be available when you're looking at homes at night or on the weekend. We'll answer. You'll have my cell phone. You can text me, call me when you need something, and I'm going to pick up. And you know what? If I'm right in the middle of something with my kiddo or whatever, yeah, I'll call you back in an hour, 2 hours, whatever. Multiple day, week long wait times to get pre-approved, to get an offer put in on a house, waiting on your lender to say you're good for it. Like that all happens very quickly. So again, we kind of work through a very streamlined, easy process so that we can earn, a 5-star Google review. At the end of the day, you'll see if you look us up on Google, we've got almost 1,200 5-star Google reviews in both of our Mankato and Rochester offices. Perfect 5 stars. And that's not easy, right? Because each one is a client actually saying, hey, here's how this process went. But we do that because, again, we know that the hardest part is getting that client to give us a call. And now we're going to provide that mortgage experience that you're really looking for. It's not just the interest rate. It's not just the closing costs. It really does come down to, am I going to have a headache at the end of this, right? We're the painkiller. We're going to help out with that and make sure that, there is no headache and that it feels like a really smooth process, and so how that kind of can jump right into, when we're working with clients that are looking to maybe refinance or purchase a home while maybe even going through a difficult life situation, whether it's, a divorce or a separation of some sort, we have a lot of ways that we can help with that. And it really does start with availability, right? There's going to be times where that process is just, kind of overwhelming. And when you call somebody, you don't want to not get a call back. Hey, I'm looking for some information on how I can buy a home while going through a divorce. You need somebody that's going to like answer the phone, and then they're going to communicate and educate a process of here's how you can go through this process. and it is possible to buy a home while going through divorce. It is possible to, hey, I have to pay off my spouse in order to, get this divorce settled and done. And, this is how much I need. Is that possible? Well, let's take a look, right? And we're going to educate through that. And, if we have XYZ in place, if we have a divorce decree in place, yes, we can actually do a different loan product that's not normally available to you to allow you to pull out more money to satisfy the divorce decree or, whatever the case might be. So there are some specific situations where you really do want somebody advising you, and at the end of the day, like what we do well is we work with somebody like you, Christy, who can be like, hey, I can do this on the financing side. Now here's, Christy, who's going to make sure that you're secure in doing this method and that you're protected, at the end when we close on that home loan and that whether it's a home purchase or refinance, is everything structured the way that's needed in order to make sure that there's nothing that's coming back to bite you later, right? And so we really work hand in hand with people like you, Christy, to make sure that that process goes smoothly and everything's in place for an easy, not an easy transition, but an easier, right? A more efficient transition through, a hard time like that.
Absolutely. There is no easy divorce. Divorce is the most the worst thing that most people will go through. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but your divorce case can be a lot easier if you have the right advice and information from people. And that is why I am interviewing Kyle today, because he is one of the people that when you are getting divorced, if you're going to refi the mortgage or if you're going to buy another house and you need another mortgage and you don't want your soon-to-be ex-spouse to have an interest in that house. Um, he's one of the people who you're going to need to talk to. And there's a bunch of other professionals I'm going to refer you to as well for all the other fun things that you are going to need to handle during divorce. Um, thank you very much for your time today, Kyle. And again, Christy Thompson with Christy Legal. And I hope that everyone in Minnesota has a great rest of the day.
Thanks, Christy.